I'm Tara Joseph, looking at the week ahead in Asia, and with much of the activity focused on China, let's go to John Foley of Breaking Views. He's the China editor for Breaking Views, based in Beijing. And John, let's start with the flurry of earnings that we've seen. First of all, we've got bank earnings coming out in China, the big four banks, and so far Bank of China's looked pretty good. Is this going to be a great earnings season for banks overall?
Well, the banks always tend to report similar news, which is that bad debts have reduced and profits have grown very strongly, and this is going to be no exception. Bank of China has already slightly beat estimates by about 5%, and we've got ICBC, CCB and Agbank coming down the pipes. We're likely to see them say that their credit conditions are improving, that they're less burdened with potential bad loans. But there are still things to worry about with the banks. They're playing silly games, dressing up their balance sheets to make their deposits look higher than they actually are. So in the long term, I'd say we're worried, but I wouldn't expect any negative surprises in these results.
Speaking of worries, we're leading up to the NPC, or the leadership transition, in early November. What's the mood like in Beijing? There's lots of drama going on. Is it quite tense, and can we expect a lot more in the coming week?
Well, there's a lot of excitement going on. We have Bo Xilai being ejected finally from his less political post today, ahead of what will probably be formal charges laid against him. We also have this explosive article about Wen Jiabao from the New York Times, which was published today, saying that his family controls a huge amount of wealth. So the timing of this is all very significant. In a couple of weeks, we have the leadership changeover, and it will just ratchet up the tension slightly. But I would still expect it to be a very smooth process, and I wouldn't expect any more bombshells between now and then.
Okay, while we're waiting for that, we've got another piece of big data coming out of China in the coming week. We've seen a little bit signs of a turnaround in terms of the economy. PMI data coming out, is that going to show that manufacturing is improving?
Well, people are watching PMI very closely at the moment because no one's really quite sure which direction China's economy is headed in. And the flash PMI, which is the kind of shorthand version which came out the other day, suggested we've got slight contraction, but with particular weakness in employment, which is, of course, a very sensitive area. So next week, people will be looking at this data to look for signs that the economy has bottomed out. We think it probably isn't going to get much worse. So we should start to see things tick up, although not dramatically so, by the end of the year.
We'll keep an eye posted on politics, on the economy, and on earnings. John Foley, great to see you in Beijing. Thanks very much.